Hello and welcome to the first show of the Good Morning ROBLOX. Here are the highlights for this week.
Our first subject on today is the Paris Climate Agreement. As you all know, Biden has rejoined after Trump left in 2018, I think it was. So yeah, Matthew, you can go ahead and give your opinion on it.
As I have said, I do not think that it was the best choice for him to rejoin. I do not believe that climate change is a hoax, but other countries may try to get involved with us. And by working with them, I'm all for foreign relations, but working with some people, you just can't trust everyone. And I know this is a national thing to help stop climate change, but I don't feel comfortable with other countries telling us what we need. We are the greatest country in the world. We can lead climate change by ourselves and let other countries do what they need to do. But I believe that the United States can and should be leading climate change, and the rest of the world following behind us.
I would say that number one, the United States initiated the Paris Climate Agreement. The United States is leading the climate effort. If you look at the Paris Climate Agreement, the United Nations is the main factor, which guess who the United Nations was initiated by? The United States. Therefore, the United States is leading this effort, along with a few other countries. But, for example, our allies that we've had for 70 plus years, the United Kingdom, our oldest France is also helping out. So it is not us following another country's footsteps. We are the main leaders.
What I was saying is that I don't believe that any other country needs to be telling us what to do in our own backyard.
So you're saying that we don't need to take advice from other countries just because they're other countries?
I'm saying we don't need to be taking advice from other countries that may not respect us to the fullest as some of our allies do. You have to understand, Britain may not like us 100%. We left their country. So I don't know if I can trust every other country. When Britain was the people that, I don't know where I'm going with this. But I don't believe that we should be leading. I do not believe that we should be listening to other countries and for them to tell us what we have to do in order to change something. Our scientists know what we're doing, and if we see some real danger, I trust Congress to pass some laws to change some things. But I don't trust other countries telling us how to run our country.
Well, Matthew, number one, you talked about how Britain still might not like us. You realize that was over 200 years ago, right?
Nonetheless, it did happen. We cannot change history, and they may not forgive us.
They have. If they did,
I can't say that 100% because the Queen of England has not liked any of our presidents since Reagan, so I can't say that 100%.
England hasn't liked Donald Trump. That's who she don't like.
The Queen didn't like Obama either because Michelle turned her back on her.
Okay, that does not mean that she does not like
You're not supposed to turn your back on the Queen, if you didn't know that.
The Queen ain't all that.
All right, bro.
Let's move. Let's move on. Let's move on.
To the strengthening the Affordable Care. As you guys know, Obamacare passed in the Senate and the House of Representatives in 2011. I'm not exactly sure the year, but it passed. Number one, when it comes to the Affordable Care Act, it is one of the best health care packages in the history of the United States of America. It gives millions of Americans health care insurance. And then there was the Republicans that's trying to repeal and replace it as Trump. Number one, the you should not repeal and replace Obamacare because millions of Americans will lose their jobs. I mean, not their jobs, their Medicare. They won't have health insurance. They won't have nothing like that. So that's all I gotta say. Matthew, you can give your opinion.
Everyone knows how I feel on Obamacare. It has ruined millions of people's lives. If you did not have healthcare prior to, the government forced you to pay a certain amount of money to buy Obamacare. That is ridiculous and outrageous. With people that can't even pay their rent and can't even feed their children, how do you expect them to pay for healthcare? For you to force someone to get healthcare is exactly what this country stands against. That is a dictatorship. We cannot force anyone to do anything they do not want to. And if they do not have the means to do it, how are you going to force someone to give money that they do not have? I have seen millions of people uh, in my own state of California go homeless since Obamacare has passed. And since Obamacare has passed, so many people have went homeless because they cannot pay their rent because they have to buy healthcare. They're
But
forced by the
Matthew,
government
number
to
one,
pay to buy healthcare.
Matthew, number one, if we was to take it away right now, if the government was to take away the Affordable Care Act right now, millions of Americans will lose their health insurance during a pandemic. What kind of sense does that make?
During a pandemic, let's talk about during a pandemic. We can't even go to the hospital. How are they going to use their health insurance and they
Yes,
can't
you
even
can.
go to the hospital? Hospital numbers are skyrocketing. How are they going to
Matthew,
do it?
this is last. That's when that was last March. I know it's skyrocketing in
That was
California.
last March. It still is.
Barely, not in California like that, like it was like a couple weeks ago. I did my research. Number one, like
And
I
I
just said,
live here.
if millions of Americans was to lose their health insurance if they was to take away the Affordable Care Act during a pandemic, it's bad to lose it any other time, but during a pandemic, during an outbreak of a virus, that would literally ruin their lives.
Let me
It
ask
really-
you something, Jason. Let me ask you something,
What's
Jason.
up?
People have lost their jobs, correct? That means they're dealing with less money they have than they made last year. Then unemployment rates are so high, unemployment checks are going down. Then do you know what happened? If we're being forced to buy healthcare and these people lost their jobs and aren't making that much money on unemployment, how do you expect them to feed themselves? How do you expect them to pay their rent? How do you expect this? Because you're going to force them to buy healthcare.
Because let me tell you this right here: the affordable when you get a job, you'll get money and stuff. Therefore, like I keep saying, I understand
They
that you
don't
have.
have jobs. Half America has been laid off. How do you expect people that
I
have been
understand,
laid off and can't feed their children to buy health care?
but they don't they automatically get it. I think.
No,
Hold
you
on.
have to pay for that. They register you automatically and take it out of your taxes. They make you buy their health care.
All Americans need health care. That's the simple. So
We'll be right back after these commercials.
And we're back. Now we're going to transition to national news. Let's talk about this virus that has havocked all of the world. But right now we're going to look at COVID-19 and how it's affecting the United States. Over this past week, there has been 433,000 deaths and 25.8 million cases. The government is lacking vaccinations all around the world. And especially in the United States, most governors are complaining about how they are not getting enough vaccines. They have huge reopening. They have huge vaccine places that are ready to distribute, but there are no vaccinations. You cannot do anything without vaccinations. And now reopening. If schools and businesses are going to reopen, will you be able to will you send your child? That's been a question that we have asked many people, and they say they don't feel comfortable with sending or going to school if it reopens. And people say that they are more comfortable with going into a business than going into a school. They say because they can leave the business whenever they want, but the school, they are stuck there for about 6 hours a day. In Long Beach, they are vaccinating teachers already, and some teachers are already getting vaccines. Maybe the maybe the Biden administration should look at this and put this all over the world.
Are you looking for a new car?
No.
The car that is basically indestructible.
Is that even possible?
Well, then you should get the indestructible car, the car that never breaks.
I don't care.
Just listen to what this man had to say.
It's horrible.
It's great, we even took him on a test drive. Was that great or not?
The car exploded.
This customer loved it.
I hate it.
With two of these things we have no idea in the front, it keeps it indestructible.
Say indestructible one more time and I'm gonna stick some indestructible up your...
So buy it today, and get an indestructible car.
Can I go now?
Come pick it up today for only half price of $700.
Rip off.
You look like a rip-off.
Well, I'll show you a rip off.
Welcome to D's Corner. First, let me thank you all for tuning in to Good Morning Roblox as we explore politics and pop culture. First, let's take a look at what's going on in the media. Okay, so Nick Cannon's syndicated talk show scheduled to premiere in fall 2021 following delay over controversial comments. In case y'all didn't know what that was, I believe it was last year, Nick Cannon had made comments about a group of white people calling them savages. Okay. Now, I don't know why the media had a problem with that and ended up canceling his show. Personally, I like this show. All right. A bunch of people wanted to have an uproar and a fit about that because white people have been saying far more worse about black people things for years and years and years. And some of their shows are still on the TV, but we ain't going to get into that right now because we don't have that much time. But anyway, Subway hit with lawsuit after customers allege the company's tuna sandwiches are not made with actual tuna. Okay. What in the world? Number one, who still eats Subway? That's my question. All right. Who still eats that garbage? I stopped eating it after I left middle school. All right. Okay. I stopped eating that after I started taking it to school for lunches on field trips. All right. I don't know who still eats that garbage. Whoever eats that is beyond me, but hey, that's between you and God. But that's all we have for D's Corner today. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.